Sup world, sup Zion, it's Prince Easy coming at you again once more. And as usual, I do have a couple slides that I want to share with you in this fine Monday here that we're having. Right, and of course, disclaimer for all the material that is going to be shared here. Right, fair use, so to speak. Right, so let's get to it. Right. So we're gonna begin with a video, and we're gonna have a listen. Right?
Only three experiences with the Americans, and they did not intend any harm in each one of them. But the tragedy was they did real harm. First, this is old stuff now. We caught an American CIA agent trying to subvert our intelligence special branch officer. Bribe him so that the special branch officer will feed the CIA, because the CIA wants to know what's happening. I mean, subverting a Singapore officer. The man might have succeeded, but I'm proud to say that the officer offered large sum of money and continuing sums of money. This was in 1960. Refused and reported the matter to his chief, who reported it to me. Man was caught, locked up, and it was on razor's edge whether we charged him in open court or not. No, let me explain this. When I told the American government, all right, we keep quiet, you take this man away, $100 million to the Singapore government for economic development. You know? No, listen. I didn't tell, I never spoke to the Americans direct because, they lack the finesse, and, they may say, yes, they give it to you. Why not? Why should the Singapore government just give to you, to me, which would have ruined me? But through an intermediary, they offered me and my party $10 million. I mean, the insult. I told them, keep it. I've had 3.
Yeah. So I hope you make a better deal, Kenya. I hope you make a better deal, because as usual, there is a or else, right? That has always to be in account or to be expected. Yeah, they're back at it again, right? Yay! This is what I was talking about, right? There are consequences. Always is. Always. And people don't seem to learn, right? I don't know, do the work and find you some evidence how many times this has backfired. Many times. These conservation efforts have ended in tragedy. Why don't you hear about it? Because on their part it would be counterproductive, right? And don't get me wrong, there are good aspects, right? I'm not saying people should be reckless. That's not. But I'm saying, and I always keep saying, and I always say that the agenda has been hijacked. Okay, the agenda has been hijacked. Just like how Pan-Africanism can be hijacked from within. Okay, so the idea on the surface might be great and good and righteous to support, but how you do it, then that's where everything is just a mess and a disaster, right? Every solution they recommend somehow leads to poor nations continuing to be poor. And even causing power crises, as we have seen and as I've shown here in these here videos, right? Especially when we're dealing, I remember the last time I covered this was Australia, right? After they have committed, now they are starting to raise the questions. Did we really consider that we could power industry with solar panels? Like, did we really think that we could run industry using windmills? Was that ever, And this is not about solar, right? This is not about solar panel. This is not about windmills. This is about policy and how these policies that these world leaders adopt, right? And these policies, they are not basically, they are just invited to partake and to support and to back, right? They get called out there to the COP20 whatever, and then this bullshit is fed to them, and now they have to find a way to like not seem the black sheep of the family, so to speak. It's embarrassing. It is. It's embarrassing. I love nature, right? What I don't hate, what I hate is policies, right? That is the part that has been hijacked, right? And further studies need to be taken, right? You just don't create an artificial forest and just expect everything to be fine. No, right? A forest or even a bush has developed by itself, right? Under the watchful eye of the creator. It has been crafted, right? And somehow we think that we can apprehend, right? Of course, there are some scientists who are waking up, right? You can look out for articles out there, right? There are some scientists that are waking up, right? I remember this last article I saw. They were studying how plant life divides itself across a hill, right? So they did a deep study of every plant and how this gradient evolved, and this gradient was also connected to the biodiversity. And trust me, these conservation, they are not that deep. Okay, they are not that deep. Okay, because those people had to put data into computers to create models to even apprehend, to see the miracle that is the forest that we are seeing here, right? They exist because they are organically, or rather naturally, sustainable by design, intelligent design. Okay, they just don't exist like this randomly. No. Okay, this is the point, right? I just decided to go deeper at this, but I show you the light, let's just say that, right? So you can follow, right? So these forests, like the one we are seeing here below, yeah, they look beautiful from the sky, but they are dead, they are dead, right? They are dead projects before even. Why? Because there is deeper knowledge that has not been learned yet. And why? Because the motives and the people who sponsor them are not really interested in conserving nature. They are more of dig up holes and extract more minerals to create this new technology that will supposedly help serve humanity one way or the other. these guarantees with no warranties. Hmm? Just the headlines. Hmm? Just the headlines. But what cannot be agreed, what cannot be denied is that the relationship is spoiled. So it is up to Barik to mend it. If not, then the world keep going. Hmm? So how is American pursuing its own interests a security threat to you? So what? These wars are all about your interests? Is that it? It's not about the Ukrainian people, the children that have been kidnapped? Really? It's all about resources, brothers, right? It's crazy, but it's the truth, you know. And if they don't get to the window, to the door, there is the window. Right? It's crazy, but it is the plain truth right there. Okay. Yeah, things are developing. Mm. So the bid has been dropped, apparently, and apparently they have surrounded the Russians. And they are looking for more escalations, really, right? The attack on the Chechens, the balloons from Belarus. It goes on and on and on and on. And whatever moves that they're being made, I don't think it's Zelensky. Zelensky is just a face. I don't think he's that articulate to even lead a country to a war. He's just a actor playing a role, you know, just like in that Iron Man movie, right? That so-called jihadist guy, right, was just a paid actor from England, right? But he was the face of terror. Why? The power of media and perception and narrative. That's what's up, right? And this one here goes to our forces that are helping stabilize Africa in many, many regions. So yeah. Yeah, good luck with the replacing of their president. Wow. Since when did Russia have the power to dictate reality? I didn't get the memo. Russia seems to be like God or something, right? It's crazy work. Yeah, the dead internet is here. It's not coming. It's already here. Right? The most famous question always in any video that has any form of excitement or excellence is this: is this AI generated? Right? That question will haunt us at this particular moment, trust me. Hmm? As you get on top of the pyramid, it shrink. It shrink. Eventually, it's just gonna end up the one studio. It's happening everywhere in the gaming industry, right? The Western part of the gaming industry. This consolidation is happening. Now it is into the movie production. It's gonna happen. Eventually all of these are gonna merge and merge and merge and merge in one single entity. Right? Why? Narrative control. Right? They are gonna remain semi-autonomous, right? To give you the illusion that you have options and stuff, right? But at the end of the day, they're all gonna be telling you the same old thing, same agenda, same propaganda. Mm? The jokes almost write themselves. From what I hear, the Syrians have suspects and stuff. Mm? Property developers. Now they are complaining. Right?
And,
Okay, another video I'm gonna share with you.
part of my job when I went to other countries to convince presidents to to accept our loans, I would basically say to them, in this hand, I've got billions of dollars for you and your family. If you accept this loan, you and your family are going to really benefit from this because you're going to get scholarships for your kids. We're going to give you scholarships for your kids to go to college. My headquarters were in Boston, great universities. We'll get you into great universities, your kids and your friends' kids, and we'll give them full scholarships, and we'll give them jobs when they get out or during vacation. But if you decide not to accept this, then in this hand I got a gun. Now, I didn't actually carry a gun, but these presidents knew, as I did, that behind me were people we call the jackals, who overthrow governments or assassinate leaders. And the United States, unfortunately, has a long history of this. It's admitted to it. And, with Allende of Chile and Arbenz of Guatemala and Mossadegh of Iran, Lumumba of the Congo, and Diem of Vietnam, and many, many others. And so, in a way, my job was pretty easy. And, part of my job when I went to other...
He says his job was easy. Yeah, it was easy. Because it's quick to judge, It's quick to judge. But when it comes to it, brothers and sisters, it is not as easy as it seems, right? Do not even beg for that temptation, right? Or test, so as you can quote unquote find out if you can overcome. Okay, and knowing how you got there, most people fold. Let me not tell you that, right? Let me not lie to you. And is folding a sane strategic, right? You now have to decide, right? Because this is now, I'm trying to find out if people are intelligent or not, right? Is taking that money a better decision than refusing, so as you can face whatever you're gonna face? Which is the better decision there, right? Because in all honestly, they're all bad decisions. Yeah, accepting the money is a bad decision, and also facing them with armed conflict or confrontation is also a terrible idea, knowing the expenses. So again, the two options, right? And he said it. He was in the stuff, right? He's in the stuff. Now he's in the outside. He's seeing what his handiwork has done, right? And this is guilt. This is why he is out here. So this is quite an interesting test. You can see at the bottom there who ran the tests, and basically they put AI models in a simulation and let them run their economies and stuff. Quite interesting. Shall share the video with you. Another interesting thing. Well, AI is not stealing anything. Right? This is the narrative that, because if we get this wrong, we are going to have a big problem, right? What we are dealing with is that slavish mind, and this is going to cause so much upheaval in Africa because it is a lever that I think we are not confronting. That's the truth. It's a lever that we are not confronting and expecting that this lever will not be utilized by our opponents. This is crazy work, right? They want to win by any means necessary, okay? So this, what is the lever then? This crisis, this employment crisis, right? Again, society as usual, because they don't know what to do either. Right? They say we are going to disassociate ourselves from these problems, and we're just going to point at the government and demand stuff from the government, to employ us or find jobs for us. Like, seriously, that is not sustainable, right? But again, we are seeing, right, these so-called opposition people, right, who are really paid actors, come out here and say, we are going to get all of you employed. Like, really? You have a plan to employ, let's just take an estimate, 20 million youth of this one single nation. You have a genius plan to do that for 5 years. We can give you even 2 terms, 10 years. Can you make a plan to employ 30 million people in 10 years? Whatever comes out of your mouth, trust me, it's idealistic. It is idealistic. I've played this simulation over and over, and it ends the same way, right? And if people choose, right, because I've also thought about this, right, because people might decide, you know what, we are going to intentionally stagnate the development of technology so as to keep people employed, right? Because that's the only way I see people getting out of it. And what is that going to do? What is the unintended consequences of this decision? Well, prices, right? The reason that we are mostly able to afford what we can afford is because of scale, right? Scale, okay? Scale, right? And of course, when you look at the industry, right, the processing line, the production line, right, and you have humans on this side and machine on this side, and we talk strictly about profit and loss, humans are going to give you a loss. That's just the reality, brothers and sisters. Okay, people get tired, they get distracted, right? You know, in an assembly line, they make a mistake. But a machine does not have these vulnerabilities that can be a hindrance to a, you know. This is why they are meticulously getting phased out, right? Because they cause losses. That is just the truth, right? Just imagine, right, these semiconductor wafers, you know, they call them wafers, these discs. You know how delicate they are? You want now people to start handling that stuff? You're gonna see an increase in losses, right, in damage while producing, right? It's everywhere, right? It's not to say that the machines do not cannot have errors and make mistakes that could cause even bigger damage, yeah, but the probability of that happening is quite low. Okay, so it will be against our interests, right? We the consumers, not you the employed that produces said product for consumers. It would be counterproductive. The prices of these products will rise. That's the truth. They will rise. What else is there to do than to artificially stagnate technology? Well, what am I calling for then? Adapting, right? People are so good at adapting, right? I'm not having any worries as much. Why? Because I have seen this capability within myself, this ability to adapt. And people need to look for it and find it, right? And know that we're gonna be fine. Why? Because we adapt. Right? And we cannot go into the future with fear and stuff, you know. Fearing metal, like seriously, it was under our feet like a few hours ago, you know. So you can, nobody stole your future, right? Nobody stole your future, not your government, not these tech elites. These tech elites, they are just producers. They are producing what you consume, right? So if you stop consuming what they produce, then they adapt also. It's quite simple. So, narrative. Now I'm hearing all of this is about shipping lanes and stuff, you know, the canals and the Haifa port and the Gurioni, whatever, you know, like, people are so stupid, you know, like seriously, people are stupid and petty, and it's not their fault. It's the environment that has been created. It's sickening. It has the power to change people from the inside, you know, like a freaking microwave of rotting, right? Just rotting, right? And you start rotting at your core. So like everything else is just waiting to die, you know? Yeah, it's the truth, you know? Well, there are more developments pertaining to this story here. That it was actually a Arab Muslim man that intervened. And now this as a psyop is like literally useless now. They can use it for any form of political leverage. Right? You can use it to say you can use it to say you need to deport migrants. You can say Arabs are bad people. You can say Muslims are bad people. It's just a failed situation. Hmm? You can watch that video. You can see for yourself. Pro-democracy. Wow. As usual, people don't even question what they say sometimes. They believe that if all of us participate in the making decisions of our government, that a decision will be made. Like, seriously, do we really think that? Maybe say I need to make a whole video just talking about it, right? Do we believe, right? Do we believe, because that's what it is, it's a belief, right? It's unrealistic, right? Do we believe that if we all partook in the decision making within our countries and our areas or whatnot, that decisions will be made? No, they wouldn't, right? Because the master of these all are interests. That's the issue. Interests. And interests cause division, just like everything else people prefer and form groups around. So at first, people are gonna act very civilized, people are gonna believe like, yo, this is working, right? This is going great. Like, we shouldn't have done this earlier, people are happy, and then it comes up, right? It festers, and then they start sabotaging each other. That's how decisions are not. That's how decisions are not gonna be made, and that's the truth. And again, I've run this simulation many times. Okay. We thought they don't care, right? He was flying around and flexing and taunting that, he's untouchable, and now what? Well, as usual, some Congolese are throwing us and Burundi under the bus. Again, taking no responsibility and pretending to be victims. This is a Congolese problem. It's not a Rwanda problem, regardless of what people tell you out there. This is not a Rwanda problem, it's not a Burundi problem, it's not a Tanzania problem. This is a Congo problem, and the tribalism. This is all about tribalism. And to me, Tanzanian, it's the stupidest excuse ever. Why? Maybe because our forefathers of this nation did a good job to eradicate that stuff. It doesn't matter, right? The only time I'm gonna ask you about your tribe, maybe in marriage, right? You gotta know the customs. You have to be informed, right? But there are so few places that actually have been asked about my tribe. Like, it's not even funny, right? It's not even funny, and it's not that important. It's not that big of a deal. But to Congo, it's a big of a deal, because some tribes have decided to call themselves Congo, and everybody else, they're just exactly that, everybody else, right? And this is their war of protecting their wealth, right? And they're saying a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things, right? Tanzania is behind this. Why? Because they fear if Congo is free, it would be the superpower of Africa. Headache. Headache. Uzalendo. Hawana uzalendo. That's the issue of Congo. They do not love their land, they do not love their brothers. This is why there are hundreds of groups of people fighting over there. Do you think Kagame is in charge of 100 insurgency groups? Are you serious, brothers and sisters? Like, seriously, let's have this conversation. Do you think Kagame has the time to operate 100 or so, even 120? The last I heard, 120 groups, armed groups, okay, not just groups with machetes and spears, no, with guns, right? And the only group they are talking about is M23, right? No, that's not even the biggest group. Okay, and of course the Europeans are playing both sides. They are playing with Tshisekedi, they are playing with Kagame. But the game changed when they tried to take out Tshisekedi. You remember that attempt? So again, they need to figure it out. This is nobody's responsibilities. It's not. It is yours. You yourself. You are the one holding the guns. Your brothers and sisters and young brothers and young sisters are the ones holding the guns. Not Tshisekedi, not Kagame. So you have the power. But again, people tend to make things complicated so as they can continue. So many secret pictures coming out. Like it's a whole coats and daggers out here. Right? My man's was being followed. I just hire a Hollywood paparazzi, you know. They'll get the job done. This here is a bad angle. Yeah. So keep that pressure on the guys over there. Right? I don't see no yellow line, and I don't see no people talking about it. People just be begging and stuff. Right? Because you didn't have really a mechanism to ensure they said ceasefire. The same problem that exists in Russia, Ukraine. Only civility. Right? And who is not civilized is gonna end up dead. Because war is strategy. Okay? So let me get this straight. Exam chief quits. So what should the students do? No? That's what's up. That's what's up. The nerve of these people, you know? Throwing this out there. Embarrassing. Your name of the band. It's like, what? You really are punks. Hmm? This man makes great documentaries.
On August 17th,
Another video.
about 4 months ago, I sent Prime Minister Albanese of Australia a letter in which I gave him warning that the Australian government's policy was promoting and encouraging anti-Semitism in Australia. Doesn't sound like a warning, sounds more like a threat. And then months later, there's an attack at a Hanukkah event.
To the Jewish community of Australia after today's horrific terror attack. These vile terrorists deliberately targeted innocent Jewish families, celebrating the first night of Hanukkah. They wanted to light a big light.
Suddenly Jews are under attack?
What is this? Like try to kill us, like this, like terrorism, like try to kill Jews. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are. You kill a Jew, that's it. The people of Israel stands together with all of you.
The most shared survivor, check this out, just moved from Israel after October 7th, and suddenly he has a bullet graze his head. Candace Owens said an attack was coming the second week of December, and then boom. What's even weirder is people are pointing out that there were search spikes in Israel for the terrorists days before the attack. Is this a coincidence? I wrote, Palestinian state moves forward fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It rewards Hamas terrorism. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Anti-Semitism is a cancer.
Let's not forget, we are the eternal people.
Well, I saw this floating around. Me myself, I'm in the information systems and maintenance. That's where I'm at. What do they call it? They say AI is taking our jobs. Like seriously, physics is repetition. Doesn't change. That's why it is called science. So what do you think it cannot be automated and even made easier to teach? And right, physics, yeah, and chemistry, yeah. History is gonna be obsolete because everything now is available. You don't need anybody to teach you history at this point, right? The only battles that exist is the narrative battle. It's not that we are lacking history teachers, no. Right? Everything is recorded and made available in an instant. But it's a disaster. Think of it as a disaster on this world order, right? On this world order. Consider it like that, right? It's a disaster on this world order. How we built this selfish civilization, right? Or rather, others even partake in it. And now it's backfiring, right? The Russians are talking about the effects or the connection between the growth of the world economy to the sanctions. 1.8, 2024. 2025, 1.6. 2026, if it dropped down by 2 points within a year, do you think it's gonna recover soon? Do you see the European having a change of heart or mind soon? right? Because we still have these so-called elites still talking about we need more packages and stuff. Crazy work to me, brothers and sisters. Well, I know it's a packed one for a Monday, right? So anyway, I'm gonna put a pin on it right there, and we're gonna hear each other the next time I come up in here. So yeah, Prince Easy signing out. Love you. Bye.